record. Hang on. Okay, let's hear your question for today's session.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So I just had a question. Let's say on the contract, we all know 3E, 7A occupancy type, primary if you don't check it, or if checked, secondary investment. Let's
Mhm.
say you forget to mark that box, but you know there's tenants in the house and you did a TOPA. Um, is that going to be okay, because you missed that box? Is that something that's okay, or you have to do an addendum to
You
specify?
definitely you want to do an addendum because it's a box that wasn't marked, especially if you're representing the buyer. If you're representing the buyer and you wrote that contract, you're going to want to actually have a conversation with the lender because it's actually going to be a flag for the lender, most likely.
And if
If
the lender knows this already, he already knows this is an investment property, is that okay? Or
you should still clarify it.
okay.
Yeah, you can say to the lender, here's this, am I okay checking this box? And they're gonna say yes or no.
And if you missed the box,
And if you missed the box, you still want to ask the question. And
yes.
if you missed the box, you'll already have the answer to whether, how you're gonna check mark the boxes on that specific line item.
But if you've already missed the box and the contract's been ratified,
Yeah, it's just an addendum.
it's just an addendum.
Mhm.
Okay, and you would state it just, this this property is being purchased as an investment. Simple.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it that way. Or you can just say RPA item 3F, whatever it was, F3,
17.
yeah, or whatever the number it was. You can just say, box to be marked primary or box to be marked investment property, just to clarify the contract.
Okay, awesome.
That was your only question? I
Okay.
know. Okay, so let's go back to the conversation we were having just a few minutes beforehand about the BRBC form. And what do you say when you have, what was your question? What do you say when you have buyer objections to, you know, paying a fee? First
Paying
off, why don't you share the part about what you learned from the brokers about the difference? So if you're charging your clients a specific fee, like 2.5% per se, and the MLS is offering 2%, are you going to charge your buyers that 0.5%? And the answer you found out was,
So um, that specific paragraph on the BRBC, I come to find out the broker has cleared, and I've seen other videos saying that everything's negotiable. So if they offer you less and it's open to you with you and your client, what you want to discuss and how you want to move forward with that. It's not something you have to get an okay with. It has to be okay with you and your buyer
right.
moving forward.
And if you're willing to waive that fee, that's completely your um, choice if you want to. And however, if you're waiving it just because you want to be a nice guy, great. If you're waiving it because you think that they don't have enough money, do they or don't they? Let them be the ones to decide if that's something that they can pay for or not. And if they say, I can't pay for that whole 0.5%, that's a lot of money. You can always ask them, well, what amount would you feel comfortable paying? And then go from there. That's one conversation. And another conversation would be to waive it all together and just ask for referrals as payment,
So
as a,
let's say that they are willing to pay the difference. Do you, at that point, because you have a CBC in place already, with the amount that so let's say if it wasn't listed on an MLS
Mhm.
and that you have a CBC already knowing what the percent's going to be, and it's not what you signed with the client, and there is a difference. Do you do an addendum if the buyer says, "Yeah, I'll pay the difference"? Is that what you use? What form would you use to escrow?
I
To
would use an AE, um, you could do an addendum to the BRBC
to
or
the
the CBC. Yeah, you could do
but
an,
but if it's instructions to escrow, because CBC, the BRBC doesn't go to anybody. You just put it in your file, right?
well, the BRBC goes to the listing agent who has the property. If you're offering a property, offering a purchase contract, that BRBC needs to go with the purchase contract, and it cannot be made the same day. It should be made prior to submitting the offer.
For the BRBC to the listing agent.
Mhm. Yeah, especially if you're asking the agent for, to ask the seller for any payment or that difference. So if the seller's already willing to do 2% and it's in MLS, but you have a BRBC for 2.5%, so there's that little gap of 0.5%. You can put that 0.5% on the RPA. And if you do that, asking the seller, hey seller, I have BRBC, here's the BRBC form, we're short about 0.5%. Would you be willing to pay that? That's basically what the words kind of say on there,
Or on the RPA, if you're
on the
doing the
RPA.
contract,
I think it's on page,
on the contract of the RPA, that would be on page,
I think it's page,
it's page 216. It's G3, paragraph 8.
read that, read that.
Seller agrees to pay the obligation of the buyers to compensate buyer broker under a separate agreement. Form SPBB attached. Seller's broker office, if any, to compensate buyer broker is unaffected unless otherwise agreed.
And that form SPBB needs to be additionally. So you would have the contract, that G filled out, the BRBC, and then that SPBB, right?
And that's if you were asking for it to be paid.
By
Um,
this.
but if you're okay with the compensation that they're giving you, you're good to go, right?
Mhm. Good
Got
to
it.
go. Good to go. And then one of the things that I mentioned to you that I am going to offer to all the mentees that I have as of today's date, February 27th, I have a BRBC cover letter that will be able to be modified if you want to, so the words can change up a little bit, but what it does is it enhances why the BRBC is even there. It enhances your capability, your ability to be the professional realtor that they should select. And should they choose you, then the BRBC is the other piece that goes to it that breaks down how you get paid as a realtor. So,
Another one that came up, Christina, I think is very important to share with the mentees if they are taking a listing. What I learned today, the NHD.
oh yeah, share that.
So just so you know, when you take a listing, say you have to take it months before they're even ready. Don't don't order the NHD until you're ready to go on the market, because if you order it too early, it's going to have to be ordered again. And this time you will probably have to pay for that second NHD because, yeah, I did not know there was a time limit, but yes, there's a time limit. And if it's part of the MLS, which our MLS, my MLS is different than whatever your MLS,
Mhm.
they, um, the listing can not be more than 120 days. If it's more than 120 days in mine, they haven't adjusted it yet to be longer if needed. You have to add a form, an MT form, modification. Is that modification?
Modification of terms.
Uh-huh. And then move on from there. So just if you're unfortunately, fortunately I'm the type that likes to be ahead of the game and on top of everything.
Right.
I just had to learn from my mistake. I ordered it too soon because I wanted my clients to see and be prepared and know what's going on up ahead of time, but not knowing that it expires. And that's something new I learned today.
Yep. Yep, and that goes with all reports. So, and that happens a lot when you get listings and you are have the conversation with the sellers and they're agreeable to getting inspections done. You don't want to do it more than 60 days before it goes on the market. Why? Because you will have to get another inspection, or the buyer will have to, there's just another form that the buyer will have to fill out. They either accept your inspections or they can get their own inspections or additional inspections, or they'll have to fill out the BIW form, buyer inspection waiver form. And then they would fill that out and kind of go from there. So there's that info.
Well, the disclosures too, would that be the same for, no, because you're doing the MT form, right? I mean, all the disclosures you already had signed up front that they
The,
did.
no, that's fine. It's just the inspections, like home inspection, pest inspection, um, well inspection, septic inspection, if those are applicable, et
Yeah.
cetera. Make sure if you're representing a buyer and you get a pest inspection that they initial the diagram page or sign the diagram page. That's a requirement for EXP. And proof of funds. Proof of funds, I don't know where it got lost along the way throughout these years. When you're representing a buyer, you need to show proof of funds, that they have the funds for the house if they're paying cash, or they have the funds for their down payment or their deposit. You need to show proof of funds. That needs to be a bank statement, needs to have the client's name on it. If they own a business, they need to show something that shows their name is on that business, not just, Jiffy Cleaners but it's Christina Morales, Jiffy Cleaners. Great, my name's on there. Black out the account numbers. We don't need to see that. We just need to know their name on an account, on a bank letterhead, has X amount. And even if they have 10 accounts, that's okay. We just need to see that. If you're on the listing side, you need to request that. That is it's in the contract and it's part of your duty as a realtor to ensure that whoever's buying this property has the funds to do so. Because a couple years ago, when we were having a lot of offers go back and forth, and people would say, oh yeah, I'm buying cash, but really they weren't. They were getting a loan and changing the finance terms midway and just causing a huge delay in the closing if they closed at all. So it's super important to get that information. So if you're the listing agent, require that information to come in from the agent who's representing the buyer. Sometimes buyers don't want their info out there. That's fine. Just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, please get a letter from your bank that says you have X amount of funds to purchase this house, or X amount of funds for the deposit, or the lender in the loan approval can state it in there. You can say, hey, lender, make sure you've verified their funds and their income, and please put that in their approval letter, because especially if you're representing them, that's a requirement for EXP. And what else? We have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes.
What else can we talk about? That could be fun for agents to know. If anybody, I'm gonna have to send this out tonight. If anybody is available tomorrow and wants to go meet up at Bubbles and Brew in Morgan Hill, there's a 4 p.m. get together with other EXP agents. And it would be a fun time to just connect with other agents, to say hello, introduce yourself. If you've never done networking with anybody at EXP, this is a great opportunity. It's very low key, so it's a great way to get your feet wet into networking with realtors. What else?
Open houses. Do your open houses if you have a chance, because spring is coming around the corner. Nice weather. Once the weather changes and everything gets nice, people want to get out.
Yeah,
There's your chance.
definitely.
Yep. And if
And
things
if you don't have an open house, you know what? You guys all need to get on video. Michelle, you're great at it. George has been doing a couple here and there. Juan did one last weekend, right? For his open house that he did. Hold open houses for other agents. You could do that.
but it has to be within EXP.
Only EXP agents. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Only other EXP agents. Yeah, get on video, do little shorts, if you don't want to show your face, you don't have to, but push stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't be afraid if you feel like you mess up. that's okay. You are probably one step ahead of most agents who are not doing it, because you know what? Done is better than perfect.
Right. Ooh, I just heard that the other day. Perfection, when you're trying to be perfect, the P in perfection stands for poison.
Yeah.
It's so good. I thought that was perfect because when you try to be perfect, you procrastinate and then you just don't get it done because it's not perfect. So,
Yeah, people will enjoy seeing you be yourself.
yeah,
Even if
people
you
love
mess up.
bloopers. If you have a whole bunch of takes, just upload your takes. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's the end of this one, unless you have anything else for the group.
I think
Okay. Well,
some important points that people miss.
mhm.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine. Get out and enjoy it. Have a good one. Okay. Bye.